Hey folks, everything new under the sun. Well, of course, the stock market took a hit. Lots of videos out there if you're following the various preppers, economists, etc. One even suggesting, this could be the beginning of the end. And there's been lots of, 800, 900,000 point drops in the Dow over the last couple of months, couple of years. This is not particularly uncommon, and nothing has particularly crashed, although we have seen lots of hardships, obviously. But we haven't had the Great Depression 2.0 or the Greater Depression. And it will be greater than the First Depression because none of us know how to survive on less money or less conveniences. And so and Gregory Mannarino does suggest that this could be the start of it because the 10-year yield on I guess the debt is decreasing there, and that could show a problem. Now I don't understand it all, to be honest with you. All I know is that the stock market goes up and it goes down. But look at this. Look at this chart. Now this is interesting. This is from CNBC, and this is all years. Now I'm not sure why it doesn't show all years. Actually, you can look at it. You can look at the stock market bumbling along from on the left side, 1999, 2001, 2003, and then look in 2008. All of a sudden, right in the middle of the chart, of course, they started printing money out of thin air like crazy because we had the 2008 crash, and they did a lot of quantitative easing and just printing money out of thin air to prop up the stock markets. And so this is where we're at now. We're at 30,564. The futures are up right now by I think 20 or 30, but it has come down a significant point from that point. But if I zoom out here, and I'm not sure why it doesn't show all the data, to be honest with you. Maybe it's just CNBC, or I don't know if they're trying to hide something or what. I don't know. I'd like to see data all the way back to 1929. But you can see that the stock market has always kind of been down here, bumbling along. And all of a sudden, the last couple of years, it is like a hockey stick up here until the peak. And so it's really unprecedented. In the last 10 years, it has just skyrocketed. And could we, again, be seeing kind of the peak of that in the collapse? I kind of think it will go up higher before a collapse, but the Federal Reserve is now coming out with supposedly a 75 basis point increase in the interest rate. That's going to make all your loans harder to repay and fewer loans being given out. It's going to cause a slowing in the credit system, and they're doing that because they're trying to arrest inflation. They're trying to stop the runaway inflation right now, which is, 8 or 10% or something like that in the U.S., and higher than that if you use the same metrics they used in 1929 or 50 years ago to measure inflation. Then everything's even more. Look at the price of gas. It's pretty much double what it was. So inflation is significant. Every one of your dollars buys much less than it used to. Even a year ago. So interesting. Again, a hockey stick look here. But this is the economiccollapseblog.com. It says, this is bad. This is really bad. Investors love the ride up, but now the Federal Reserve is helping destroy the bubble that was once so eagerly created, and trillions of dollars in paper wealth is being wiped out in the process. Unfortunately, our system is not designed to handle this sort of carnage. So many in the financial world live right on the edge, and when things go really, really bad, the dominoes start falling. We witnessed back in 2008 and it could happen again. On Friday, the Dow Jones average fell 880 points, and many were deeply concerned about what Monday would bring. And so, talking about yesterday, well, pessimists turned out to be correct. The Dow plunged another 876 points once the day was done. Overall, the Dow was down 17% from its high, and so it has almost reached bear market territory. And people are saying effectively we're in a recession now. And again, others are saying, this is the beginning. It has now started the beginning of the economic collapse. It's been heading down. They've been trying to prop it up, but with inflation rising, the Federal Reserve can do nothing else. The central banks can do nothing else if they want to stop it, but to increase interest rates. And they can't increase interest rates because that's going to bankrupt you and I, the citizens of the country that pay the taxes, that keep the economy going. If they raise it too much, we won't be able to afford our monthly payments on all the debt that we have, all the credit we've used, and on our mortgages and our car payments and all these other things. They're going to effectively trigger economic collapse. So they can't raise it very far or very fast because they would destroy the economy. But at the same time, if they do nothing, then it's going to be destroyed by inflation because of all the money printing they did. They shouldn't have printed money. They should have let a small correction happen. And that's a problem. They haven't been letting corrections happen, which would have taken out a few, but would have made the rest of us smarter and more wise with our money and less debt-ridden. It would have caused us to be more prudent and conserve our money and just generally be wiser with it. The NASDAQ dropped another 4.68% on Monday, and it has already dropped 33% from an all-time high. 16% of traders are penciling in a 100 basis point jump next month. So a full percentage jump in interest compared to 53% forecasting 75 basis point, according to CME Group. That means that the increase in interest rates is rising and quickly as the Federal Reserve tries to get ahead of this. They would probably like to crank it up more to address inflation, but they know they can't because the shock to the markets, the shock to everybody who is paying interest on anything is going to cause economic collapse in and of itself. The Federal Reserve is pretty much handicapped right now. They could print more money out of thin air, and everybody would like that for a while, and that would cause inflation to skyrocket even further. The U.S. economy is clearly heading into a very painful recession, and you don't raise rates as a recession is starting. And so this is this thing. We're going into recession because of all the lockdown that the governments did. They destroyed the economy, and they printed even more money than they did in 2008. So the government is the cause of all this, and it's you and I who voted for this. So if you voted for a government who started the lockdowns and continued the lockdowns, you're basically the cause of this. I mean, government leaders, at the end of the day, they will do what we do as long as we vote accordingly, and so the citizens of the world, of Canada, of the United States, have effectively voted for this, and it's a shame. This didn't need to happen. We didn't need to go into lockdown with COVID. We didn't need to print trillions upon trillions if we were willing to take a haircut and have some hard times and have a little bit less, each of us. But we vote for money, and that's what the politicians do. They promise money, and we vote for them. We vote for the person who promises the most money. It says, unfortunately, the federal officials feel like their hands are tied because inflation is completely out of control. Last week we learned the consumer price index has risen 8.6%. And we were told that that was the highest it has been since December 1981. But if inflation rate is still calculated the way it was back in 1980, it would be well over 15% inflation. Bitcoin, the world's most valuable cryptocurrency, has lost 15% in the last 24 hours, putting it 66% below its all-time high in November last year, when it traded well over 69,000. Now, this is why I don't like cryptocurrencies anymore. They just started trading along with, and they started following the markets. Market goes up, cryptocurrencies go up. Market goes down, cryptocurrencies go down. And so it doesn't seem like it's a safe haven. I'll also show. I don't know if I have the article about it. I think I lost the article. I'll have to get the article, but it's right here that I want to talk about. Celsius Network. This is a cryptocurrency network, one of the biggest lenders in crypto and a key player in the world of decentralized finance, said late Sunday that it was pausing. Now, this is cause for concern. If you're into crypto, if you're into anything, if you're into the economy, this is what they can do. Said late Sunday It was pausing withdrawals, swaps, transfers following weeks of speculation over its ability to make good on the outsized returns it offered on certain of its products, including yield as high as 70%. The move effectively halted a platform which registered entities across the globe and billions of dollars worth of digital coins under management, accelerating sell-off in a broader market that was already in progress over concern of prospects for tightening monetary policy ahead of the Federal Reserve meeting this week. What I don't like about it is cryptocurrencies. It is even easier for these companies to stop withdrawals, to stop transfers, to lock your bank accounts. You can't do anything with what you supposedly have in your wallet or own. Remember, generally speaking, you need to go onto these um, these networks, these cryptocurrency networks, to buy, trade, or sell your cryptocurrency. I mean, it can sit in your wallet for as long as you want, but if you want to, use it and trade it back and forth, you're potentially going to be locked down, and that's exactly what this Celsius network is doing now. Um, Maybe not for any other nefarious reasons, but they, because of the outflows and people selling right now, they're having troubles, and so they're locking down. This is a problem. If you want to have your money and keep your money and always have control over your money, then what you want is cash, and governments are going to get rid of cash very soon. Remember, the Bible speaks about a mark of the beast, and those that do not have it cannot buy or sell, cannot participate in the global economy. That means they're going to get rid of cash, because if there was cash, then there would be no reason to take the mark of the beast, and they wouldn't be able to control you. But they will, and they do want to control you, and so they will get rid of cash shortly. Again, in the name of public safety, because of course cash carries COVID on it, right? It's dangerous, and it's used by criminals. Cash is used by criminals. This is what they will say when they get rid of it. It's used by criminals, and if you're not a criminal, then you should not be using cash. That's what they will say. So, cryptocurrency is a scary thing to be in. Precious metals will work until one day, some point in the tribulation. When it comes up upon God's wrath, men will throw gold and silver into the streets because it won't be worth anything at that point in time. You can't eat it. It's not going to protect you from the tribulation and the wrath that is to come. It's going to save you maybe through some economic trouble, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be helpful. You need to have some food and some water. At the end of the day, of course, when God's wrath is being poured out, after the seals are done and the sun and the moon go dark, and then the God's wrath really starts with the trumpets and the bowls, then nothing's going to help you at that time. But to get through it initially, you're probably going to want some hard assets, whether gold and silver, or whether they be shovels or rakes, or things for gardening, so that you can plant and grow food for yourself. And food and water are other wise things to store up. Again, just like Joseph in Egypt, 7 good years, 7 bad years. He stored up during the 7 good years to be prepared for the 7 bad years. We know 7 bad years are coming, so get prepared for it. All right, so just be aware of what's happening. And cryptocurrency is no particular help at this point. Maybe, if we get out of this and everything doesn't crash, cryptocurrency may go back up, but it's one of the things that you don't own. You can't hold it, and some people say if you can't hold it, you don't own it. So physical, hard assets that you can hold is always the most secure thing that you can have. All right, be prepared for what's going to happen on the markets this morning, folks. Things are getting crazy, and what are people in the world doing? Well, they're following Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And they're not really paying attention. They don't know that the 7-year period could very well be upon us, and that we could very well be on the edge, the precipice of a global financial, economic collapse, world famine, and depression 2.0. And even more, it's going to be far worse than 1929, by the way. Go watch some videos, read up on what happened in 1929. It's going to be that times 10, because we don't know how to live without electricity, without food, without air conditioning, without gasoline anymore. Whereas back in 1929, there wasn't any electronics. All right, they weren't traveling that far, So they just they put a bit more in their gardens at that point, but they knew how to do it. So pay attention, folks. Things are getting critical. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.